to order. And Peter, don't walk out because we'll lose a quorum. All right, Councilor Mitchell, if you don't mind, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord and Father of all mankind, forgive our foolish ways. You clothe us in our rightful mind and deeper reverence praise. I'm asking you, Father, to come into our midst and let us be mindful of what we are here to do today. I'm asking you to bless my colleagues here, the mayor, everyone who's assembled in this chamber. Let them know that we are trying hard to fight for whatever we need to do is right for the city of Charleston. And we need to come together in peace and harmony in our various communities. We are losing so many things here today so far as people is concerned and young people is concerned. So we need to come together as one to show them that we are working together and maybe this might transform into our community. These blessings I ask in your name. Amen.
Sir. All right, next item is approval of minutes, but we're going to defer October 8th minutes. So we're going to move on to bids and purchases. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Any questions, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 4 is budget and revenue collection, approval of the Blue Cross Blue Shield stop loss renewal in the amount of $1.1 million. I know that we've got HR here. Would y'all like to hear an update from Ms. Cross, or is everybody comfortable we can move forward? Is there any discussion?
Move forward.
Everybody's ready? Okay. Check the box off. Great job. Group fantastic. All right. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 5 and 6 is a police department grant, so we talked about just a moment ago. If it's in order, we can take them both together. But I do need to make a couple of quick adjustments. So if you'll hold your motion just for 1 second. So the police grant itself, 2 things. Number 1 is that these grants, they've made some changes to the grants. And so in the event that we did not receive this grant moving forward, again, that position actually could be removed from the police department. But the second thing, and most important, at least for tonight, is the fact that part of the grant's requirement is that the patrol vehicles, as part of this grant, are only allowed to be used for the purposes within this grant, which of course creates a problem for our officers in the event they need to be working during a storm or something else that are unrelated to this function. So we got some clarification on it, and what we were told is that as long as we allocated a 10% match from the city for the patrol vehicle portion only, which equates to about $15,000 for both of these, that we would be allowed to use those vehicles for purposes outside of the scope of these positions as necessary. So effectively, if we take 5 and 6, my ask would be that we amend 5 and 6 to allow for a city grant, city match equivalent to roughly $15,000, so the patrol vehicles can be used for other purposes as needed.
That's $30,000.
That's $15,000 together.
So when does this take effect? And that would be each year? And where the money coming from?
So, Chelsea, you want to share some more detail?
You want me to answer that? Go ahead. So the grant is basically has a continuation period every 3 years. So every 3 years, previously we would receive a vehicle and 2 additional officers to the traffic unit. This year they've changed the wording to only be the 2 additional vehicles, and we don't have to retain the officers. But with that, we would have to have a 10% cash match into the vehicle and the associated equipment. That would be coming out of the police fund.
Police budget.
But the police budget.
It's the police budget.
So is that a one-time or is this an annual $15,000?
It's a one-time fee, just for the purchase of the vehicle. And then
It's
if we
just the grant match for the 3-year period. We wouldn't have to do
Correct.
that every year for the 3 years.
Once we pay it, we're done.
Right,
Yes.
and it would be budgeted in 2020.
Correct.
Doesn't add to that list we were talking about earlier. Is that where you were heading with that?
A little sensitive.
I figured you. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Okay, any further discussion? Now, I think I had a motion.
Council members Shade and Shealy.
Okay, and y'all accept that change? Okay. Fantastic. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item,
Mr. Chairman, we can take 7 and 8 together.
okay,
No city match, there's no city matches, neither
All right.
one of those. Both of us are.
motion to take 7, 8. All right, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 9 is a recreation approval of a Stand Up and Play Foundation grant. Any discussion? Yes, sir. Councilman Shealy.
Thank you, Chairman. I like this. This is pretty cool. I actually pulled it up on YouTube, and these things are awesome. I just had a question, though. There is there was something in the agreement that said that the company would co-sponsor a golf tournament to help us with our maintenance costs and stuff. Is there a plan for us to do that? I think it's a great idea. Do we have a plan in place for us to do that, to help us cover our maintenance costs and program costs?
Ms. Scarborough?
That's a great question, Councilman Shealy. We are working with them. There's not a date set, but we are working with them on that so that we can use some money for maintenance.
All right, great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further? Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I would also add that the nonprofit has been formed, as I think you're aware, of the Friends of the Muni, to help with the fundraising for the renovation of the Muni, slated to start next year. But the intent is for the Friends of the Muni to survive the renovation and continue to be a resource for assisting with sundry expenses at the golf course. So long-term, that's and by the way, speaking of golf tournaments, there's a golf tournament on November 18th at Cacique that will benefit the Friends of the Muni and our renovation.
And a party the night before. If you don't
And an auction the night before, Sunday night, November 17th. Invite everyone to come. It's going to, Bill Murray, by the way, and Darius Rucker have both agreed to participate in the tournament, so it ought to be a lot of fun.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 10 is capital
Move for
priority.
approval.
St. Julian Divine, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 11, stormwater management, and actually, we can probably take 11 and 12 unless there's a reason we can't take them together.
A second.
Yeah, they're both related to the low battery wall. Right. All right, there's a motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 13 is stormwater, it's West Actually Circle Professional Services Contract with Kimley
Second.
Horn. Any discussion? Councilman Shealy? Oh,
I know that in there it said they would not take care of any lighting along that road. Are there plans for lighting? There's going to be a lot of commuters, walkers, bikers, and stuff like that coming out of that Grand Oaks neighborhood. Is there any plan for lighting at all for that road?
Mr. Fountain, can you answer the question?
So the design does not account for lighting because the lighting is provided in a design by the power utility generally, and that is then lighting is then provided by power utility, and then we pay for it through the power utility. So it's normally not part of the design aspect of the project.
Gotcha. So they'll be doing basically site lighting around when it's all said and done, coming back in, I presume?
So the lighting would be handled separately from the design of the actual road project itself. Would be handled under a separate process.
Okay, so we would need to speak to someone else on that, or what do we need to do to ask that there be lighting on that road?
So the considerations for lighting will be handled as part of the project. It just wouldn't be part of the services that Kimley Horn is providing under their design services.
Okay.
Their design services will be based on stormwater, structural design of the roadway, negotiation of exact right-of-way with the property owners, more like the actual construction aspects of the road itself rather than the sort of the furnishings of the right-of-way, which would be the lighting. I agree that it is an important thing to consider lighting in the project, and we will incorporate that into the project management side of it. It just won't be within that design contract.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Greger?
These are pending recommendations from public. Have that happened already? Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and the ayes have it. Item 14 is stormwater management approval for and apply for the NFWF planning grant. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Item 15, stormwater management. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Item 16, housing community development. Mayor and city council asked to approve the submission of a grant application for $125,000 to fund Housing for Everyone grant. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Item 17 is city finance and revenue collections approval agreement between the city of Charleston and Charleston County to accept accommodations taxes in the amount of $1.9 million for IM. Any discussion?
Okay, so Councilmember Boyd removed it. What's the next person?
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 18 is a committee on real estate. Chairman Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item A was this request for this first amendment to the memorandum of agreement on the low country low line. We approved of that, but rather than taking the funds, the $98,000 out of the 2018 recreation bond, we said it should come out of the TIF money for the TIF that's in that area. So we approved that one. Item B is the purchase agreement on that 5.4 acres off Ashley Hall Drive. This is being paid for out of fee and lieu money that we've collected from affordable housing stuff. And we had a long discussion about the elevation over there. That property is actually about 7 to 8 feet. So it's not real low, but we've got to look at it, and we're going to do a due diligence period on that, and we have some time, an extension of time from the original due diligence, so we'll be monitoring that. But we approved B also, and item C, I, 1I, and 2I, those two annexations were all approved, so I would make a motion that A, B, and C, I be approved.
I'll second it, Mayor.
I said motion on the floor, and I'm getting a sense that Mr. McQueenie would like to say something. Either that or he's learned sign language and he's shown us his new moves.
So for the one item, for the low line property and using TIF funds for that, we would ask that we defer that and give us a little bit more time to talk about it. Why? Because that TIF is only, or the low line is only, the majority of the low line is not in a TIF district. You have 3 TIFs that it touches: Cooper River, the King Street Gateway, and the Magnolia TIF. And so in order for us to really get a good handle on that, and the fact that most of those TIFs have already been spoken for, we need a little bit more time. In addition, we talked to Charlton about it, and we may need to do a resolution in order to include some of where the low line is into an existing TIF. So we would just ask that maybe we give a little bit more
With that additional
consideration.
information, Mr. Chairman, then I would move that we defer item A and approve B, C, and the 2 items under C, the annexations. Second.
All right. And I will just make one more mention, and I'll call on Councilmember Seekings, that one of the parts of the discussion we also had with regards to the low line, as you all may or may not be aware, there were some issues or potential issues on environmental concerns on some of these sites. And so part of these resources will be used for design of the park. And we felt like if there were mitigation issues that come out of that environmental study, it may change the dynamics of that design. So just something else we need to be thinking about. Councilor Seekings?
So I know this has been going on for some time, and I do believe at some point there was an agreement between the city and the low line to use some of the rec bonds to put towards some design. If we're going to defer this, how long, I mean, mechanically is this process going to be to figure out if we can use TIF monies? And is there a plan B if this does not work? Are we going to go back to the rec bond for funding this, or where are we?
It won't take us long to figure it out. I mean, we could have it for the next meeting.
Okay.
It's just, last night was the first time that we talked about it, and talking to Charlton, if we need to do a resolution, we couldn't have had that ready for you today. So, I mean, we'll have it by the next meeting, for sure.
And so we'll just wait on his advice, the resolution, and then we may have to revisit this if that goes on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, Councilor Shealy?
I was wanting to speak on item B if I can. I don't know if that messes up anything, but.
No, I think we're fine.
Okay. And I know we talked about the, how low that area is, 7, 8 feet, and we're concerned about the flooding on that particular property. In Councilman Waring's district and in my district, we've had flooding upstream from this. So I want to make sure we're not going to do something with that property that's not going to allow water to flow through in that drainage basin there as well. So not just flooding on that property, but properties upstream, because we have had, it's not major flooding, but we've had flooding upstream where that property sits.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion about that property itself, and Mr. Waring was there echoing some of your concerns. Matter of fact, that was my first question when I looked at it, was how high is this property, or it looks to me like we're in a floodway there. And so one of the things that was told to us was that we would not be filling anything. It would, stuff would be elevated, but we wouldn't be filling anything in there to do that.
Discussion, Councilman Jackson?
I just wanted to say good question, Councilmember Shealy, and we did discuss the stormwater conditions at length, and I think this will be a good exercise for the city to be looking at land in the same way that we're going to be asking our property owners all over the city, because we will be adopting regulations that will require that we look that far afield to the impacts of a new property. So this is going to be a really good learning lab for all of us.
All right, any further discussion? So the motion was, in fact, to accept the report from real estate and also defer item A. I'm assuming that was accepted. Okay. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Is there any more business coming before this committee? No. All right, we stand adjourned.